LIP 2022, The Power of Perspective, Casting the Lens on Constructive Solutions. As read by the Journalism Honours Class of 2022 at Stellenbosch University.
Voguing Forward, Ballroom as a Queer Safe Space by Connor Cogill. Trigger warning. This article mentions queerphobia, verbal harassment, and sexual and physical violence. The ballroom scene acts as a safe space for queer people, often rejected or endangered by society, to come together and compete for prizes and bragging rights, said Rory Bingham, father of House of Le Cap. The scene is still small and fledgling in South Africa, said Bingham, but it is growing steadily. House of Le Cap, based in Cape Town, is Africa's first ballroom house and was formed by the late Coven Fortuin in 2017, according to Bingham. The scene was first created by trans people of color in New York City in the 1920s, said Bingham. Queer people would arrange themselves into houses with a mother or father figure to guide them, and these houses would compete against each other in various categories in a competition called a ball, explained Bingham. In the South African ballroom scene, queer people are making this our own and putting a twist on it, according to Lilo Mislani, founder of Vogue Nights Josie. The crowd is diverse as well, a true reflection of our community. Queering inhibition. According to a 2019 study on the realities of violence, mental health, and access to healthcare related to sexual orientation and gender identity in South Africa, 79% of participants had experienced verbal harassment due to their sexual and/or gender identity. A total of 61% of participants had experienced physical violence, 48% of participants were survivors of sexual violence, and 61% of participants felt that the violence they had experienced was directly tied to their sexual orientation and gender identity. The study, conducted by Alex Müller, Kristen Daskilewicz, and the Southern and East African Research Collective on Health, drew the conclusion that LGBTI people are more likely to experience verbal harassment and physical and sexual violence than other members of society. The world is still very straight and dangerous for some of us to navigate and exist in, said Bingham. This, according to Bingham, is why spaces such as those provided by the ballroom scene are important for queer people in South Africa. Liam Jackson, a genderqueer person, described their first ballroom experience in Cape Town as one of feeling safe and uninhibited. You're not thinking about who's looking at you. You're not thinking about whether you're standing correctly or presenting correctly. It's just so liberating, said Jackson. People now have a better general understanding of what ballroom is, explained Mislani, who started Vogue Nights Josie in 2018 as a means to carve out more space for queer people in the nightlife scene. I don't think a lot of queer people get to really express themselves in ways they would want to normally, and there's an opportunity to do so at a space like Vogue Nights, said Mislani. Bigger and better ballroom. The ballroom scene is not without its challenges, according to Bingham. I think the biggest challenge we face currently is to get the queer community to fully understand ballroom and have them pay respect to all things that come with ballroom culture. Brands and corporations are now looking to misrepresent and capitalize on the culture of ballroom without consulting or giving credit to its pioneers, said Bingham. However, the future is bright for ballroom, said Mislani, who is hoping to see more international engagement with the South African ballroom scene soon. Bingham echoed this sentiment, stating that the future of the ballroom scene, I hope, will be one that brings about many opportunities for queer people to do bigger and better things. I see us being recognized by the international ballroom scene and going over to compete in international balls, said Bingham. Now reading from infographic, Categories of Ballroom. Face is all about the beauty of a contestant's face, using gestures to frame and show it off to the judges. Vogue Femme is based on old way performance and contains the original Vogue elements. Sex Siren is all about sex appeal. Runway sees contestants strut down the runway like fashion models.
You can read the full text of LIP 2022, The Power of Perspective, on www.multimedia.org.